fine, man.
Right, everyone, we have Dave Reid, the captain of the Scottish team, and I don't know what's going on with his camera, but the guy's gorgeous. The camera isn't really showing it at the moment, but he's definitely here to help us out with running some lists. So the lists we have presently are France Team 1 versus Germany Team 1. And the first list I've classed as the White Council. And we have Gladriel, Lady of Light, Saruman, the White on Horse, Floy with 12 Dwarf Warriors, basic shields. We have Legolas on Horse with 8 Guard of the Gladrian Court, and we have 1 singular Wood Elf Warrior with an Elf Bow. You got the last warband there, Dave?
Last one. I was looking at that as 4 Wood Elf Warriors.
There is 4 Wood Elf Warriors. My apologies.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm assuming all elf bows.
Yeah, they have elf bows. I was concerned why I only saw 1 for some reason.
The last one is a Minas Tirith warband. It's Madrill.
Yeah.
And it has 3 Knights of Minas Tirith.
It has, yeah. One
with...
Well, actually, one is without a shield. The other 2 have shields. Well, what's your thoughts on that list as a whole from France 1?
Different. Some of it's quite similar to the sort of stuff you see in a lot of lists here anyway. Like, you've got the double caster, which is going to be strong there. You've got Floy. Block Warriors is quite an interesting one when you could take Khazars for an extra 2 points per model at the 24 points. For those I'd guess they've gone for spending the extra points in the Gladriel Coat Guard, as opposed to the Khazar Guard there. I think maybe lacks a bit of punch, which I think the Khazar Guard instead of the Warriors would bring it. I don't know where you would drop the points. Legolas and Horse is really useful, but always found them better with a cloak.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. I mean, he works well with Saruman to perhaps protect Saruman a little bit, but then you'd be expecting Saruman to be kept near the back anyway to get that few spells in, I reckon.
It's a few things that's going to skip Elvis. You get Legolas and Floy, and if they can match that up against an Undying, it's either going the players going to need to go forward to try and neutralise Floy, or they're going to need to hold their Undying back with Legolas. So either way, that's kind of a win.
My concern here, though, Dave, is it's only 32 models. Now, it's not the smallest, but when we have a army list of 72 models, it kind of gets a little bit frightening.
Yeah, that can be a struggle, especially some of the number-based missions where they're like a whole ground. Like, it doesn't have, I don't think it has the punch to deal with, especially if, I don't know what the big army the 72 is, but if it's like Moranans or something like that, I could see this really struggling to cut through a Defence 6 horde. So if it's Moranans, or even just a Minas Tirith horde, like something like that you would use, I think this would struggle to cut through it. I think it has a lot of good matchups as well.
Yeah.
I think they are sort of more elite armies. They can match in numbers. It's got the high defence in the front and the high fight value in the back. It's got a few cavalry in there which are quite nice, even just to pull off cavalry bonuses from an enemy hero that's charged in. 3 models that can run off the board in recon. Those are useful.
Although,
nice to have a bit of speed.
The Maelstrom of Battle I'd be very worried about.
It's got Madrill.
Okay. I suppose so. Let's move straight on to the next one there, and that's Mordor with Shagrat. So, if you want to read out that list there, have you got that to hand?
Yes.
And we've got spears and shields on these Moranans, by the way, all the way down the line.
So Mordor with Shagrat. Is that Shagrat Captain of Sifundle? Is that the one with the Shadow Lord on horse?
It is the one with the Dark Marshal. It should be your second one there, straight after Gladriel. I'm going to excuse Dave here because I've actually just sent him all the stuff.
It's the third one in the picture.
It's the third one in the picture. Oh, my apologies.
So Shagrat War Leader, and then there's 2 lots of 6 Moran Orcs,
Yes.
I'm guessing Spear and Shields on one and just Shield on the other.
That's correct, yeah.
Yep. Dark Marshal and a Fell Beast, and then just the same Moran and Orc Warband.
Yes.
Then it's got a Ringwraith on foot, who seems to be 2 might, and 1 Fey, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
He's costing 85 points, that fella. So you've got 65, 70. You've got another three will added on there to the bonus, I heard.
And then there is another 7 Moran Orcs in that list. Not entirely sure what they're equipped with. There's 5 Orcs as well, which I imagine can have spears.
Yes, spears, so Moranans 6 with shields, 6 with spears, an extra 5 Orc Warriors with spears, and then we're on to Kardush, the Fire Caller for the last warband. Again, 6 and 6, so Moranans with shields, Orc Warriors with spears. It is a classic, nice Mordor army. It's got your Shagrat in there as a nice piece. As your general, I don't know, but it does have 2 Ringwraiths and a Fell Beast swinging around to give that bit of a push and that punch. Loads of Moran and Orcs, loads of Strength 4, loads of Defense 6, and loads of Spear support.
Do the Moran Orcs with spears also have shields?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so it's a huge amount of Defense 6.
Yeah, across the board. And
there is the option for Fury there with Kardush as well.
Yep.
And it's a Fury that you can regenerate. And it's nice to have some basic orcs in there for him to kill off, for them to regen the Fury when it's required, because a lot of times you're going to be matched up against the Ringwraith.
The Dark Marshal. That Dark Marshal with his banner.
Dark Marshal and Fell Beast I'm less sure on, just because of the 12 will. Is it 12 will and he's got no way of regaining the will like Camille, or no way of stopping himself from losing the will in the same way that the Knight Umbra does. The 2 less will can make quite a big difference if you've got one of Fell Beast, and you want that banner effect.
It is, but
as long as you can last it. So maybe just a couple of hurls off it, and that might be all the difference that is required.
52 models there, Dave. It's pushing a punch there with the amount of models. It's got some fairly decent spellcasters, a couple of good heroes in there. Not ultra fantastic heroes, although the
Shagrat's fantastic, really. I find. I mean, the only thing he's lacking in his fight value, but on the evil side, short something like Azor with that. But certainly in a Mordor army, he's as good as it gets, and he'll go toe to toe with most of the big combat heroes.
And I suppose with the Dark Marshal and the Ringwraith, they're going to reduce the effect of Transfix on Shagrat because they'll be more of a dangerous threat.
Yeah, they can transfix another hero and get Shagrat in on that hero.
Indeed.
Knocking them down, double strikes at strength 5.
Alright, so the next list now I'm going to pull open is the Mordor Witch King and Isengard.
Mordor Witch King and Isengard. Let's see. Yeah, so it's got Witch King at the top and then Sharku Warband at the bottom with some Berserker.
Indeed it does.
Yep.
Indeed it does. But perhaps this is why the Dark Marshal was in the previous list, because this list actually takes 3 of the named wraiths. If you want to go through those again?
Yeah, so the first one is the Witch King on a Fell Beast. He's looking fairly maxed with 3 might and 2 fate, and he's
pumping 170 points there, so.
And then you got an Orc Warrior and 4 Moranan Orc Warriors.
Yes, the Moranans have a mix of shield and spear. This Orc Warrior's just got a spear on his own. Is he a single, I have 6 points left, let's put him somewhere sort of approach? We've no idea. But it seems to be throughout the whole of this army, there's an Orc Warrior in practically every warband. If we go on to the Knight of Umbar's warband, it's a carbon copy, really.
Pretty much, he's got 5 Moranan Orcs and 1 Orc.
Yeah.
And with the Knight Umber on a Fell Beast, and then you got the Drummerlake on a horse with 6 Marine Orcs and 1 Orc.
Yes. And
then Sharku on Warg with 5 Uruk-hai Warrior and 5 Berserkers.
Yeah, with pikes.
Pikes on the Warriors.
Yeah. What are your thoughts there? I like Sharku on the Warg. He's quite mobile, and able to go off and get some objectives. You wouldn't want to really risk a Fell Beast on that, but it's
Mobile Might as well, Mobile Might is very useful, I think. You can keep up with the Fell Beast, and it might even just be him calling the rope move, and you save the Might on one of the Fell Beasts. Useful, but of course they've got the Might denial in there with the Drummerlake, so
they do, and well positioned on a horse, so we know how the front line is going to look. It's going to be Moran and Orcs up strong with loads of spear support behind, possibly Fell Beasts either side with the Dwimmerlake in the middle, and Sharku and his Berserkers coming in. In fact, actually, if you start adding them up, you're looking at least 3 Orc Warrior spear supports that might well be put with the Berserkers to give them that extra third attack.
Well, if the Orc Warriors support the Berserkers, the Uruk-hai Pikes could support the Moran and Orcs, and then you're maintaining Fight 4.
Yeah.
Which is easy enough to set up in, like, the 2 Death, Force Battle, those sort of ones.
Now we have 2 more lists for France 1, and I'm looking at the Shadow Lord, who is leading. I'll let you catch up on this one. We have the Shadow Lord leading 4 Black Numenorians and 3 Moran and Orcs with Spear and Shield. Now the Shadow Lord's on a horse here. Then we have a Ring Wraith on a Fell Beast leading 4 Black Numenorians, 4 Moran and Orcs with Spear and Shield, and finally we see a banner coming into this country's listing with 1 Moran and Orc there with a banner and a shield, and then we have Shagrat back again, but he's just the captain this time, and he has 1 Black Numenorian warrior and 1 Moran and Orc. I find that a little strange for a warband. I'm sure we can talk about that later. And then we have a captain of the Black Guard with 1 Moran and Orc and 1 Black Numenorian. I am getting curious here. And then finally we bring in the Angmar aspect with the Shade, 2 Spectres, 6 Orc Warriors with Spear, and 4 Orc Trackers. Now that's an unusual list.
It's unusual in the fact that there's very few models per warband.
Correct.
But at least
just a total of 37.
Yeah. I find, I don't know whether the extra 2 Might on the Blackguard Captain should be worth separating that out in it as different warband, and I think you could have moved those 2 models that he's leading into one of the other warbands and just bulked out more on troops. Even you could get some more Moran Orcs, some more Black Numenorians, or even some Blackguards troops as opposed to the Blackguard Captain. I think that the 37 models with the Shade is going to be a worry for a lot of lists. But I think it could be more models with Shades, which would be more of a worry.
Yeah, I mean, 37 models is below average, Dave. Well, in fact, actually kind of well below average by at least maybe 10 models, 15 models. But interesting. And the next and final list is, again, perhaps answering why the Dark Marshal was in another list, because remember we can only take 1 named, and we have the Mordor Undyne list. And I really like this list. It's a cool little list. I don't know how well it's going to get on, but we have the Undyne on a Fell Beast on his own, a Ring Wraith with 1 Spectre, a Ring Wraith with 1 Spectre, a Ring Wraith with a Giant Spider, a Ring Wraith with a Giant Spider, finishing up with Gorblog, 3 Gundabad Black Shields with Shield, 1 Gundabad Black Shield with a Shield as well now, and a Spear, and 6 Moria Goblin Warriors with Spears, 2 Warg Marauders, and then the last one is the Shaman. Now, this is one of the few single Shaman lists I've come across, because most of the lists tend to have double Shamans in them. Anyway, I digress. 1 Shaman, 4 Gundabad Black Shields, and 7 Moria Goblin Warriors with Spears.
Yeah, I don't think you would need 2 Shamans in that army. there's not enough goblins to really require a second Fury.
Yeah.
And you got Groblog there as well to make the Fury that you do have much better. It's odd, certainly. How many numbers?
We have a total here of 34 models.
34. Big characters will worry, because with that amount of renders on the table, big characters, unless they're fortified, are going to spend most of the game transfixed.
Yes,
but
indeed.
I don't know if, don't know how well the troops will hold up against an army that's spent more points on quality troops as opposed to quality heroes. I think an all-hero army would be pretty worried by this. But
I think it could well be.
A good standard of troops.
I think the Undying is key in this list. Not only being the general, but the fact that it's, it literally is the Undying and we all know its abilities. I'd be careful.
Do the Ringwraiths have any faith?
I'm sorry, do the Ringwraiths have any faith? They have no faith. They have two might and no faith at all.
That's strange as well, and I can imagine Legolas having a field day just picking off Ringwraith after Ringwraith in that list.
He might do, but he's needing 6s by 4s no matter what.
He might. Even if you can kill 2 of the Ringwraiths before you get there.
I think this list will definitely struggle with either, as you said, Legolas and a Wood Elf list at his side, or a Floy list with Wood Elf archers or Dwarf archers or any archery, basically, with a Floy. That would really be this one's undoing. So it'll be very interesting to see how the captains are going to place this. Of those 5 lists, which do you think is what we will class as the 5th list, the potential list that will not get through?
It's difficult to say without knowing the players. I mean, you wouldn't submit a list unless someone is comfortable using it. And while to me this list, the last one, is the 5th. To me, that would be the 5th list. Like, if it was
okay,
I would drop that list. But I also think that you wouldn't have submitted that list unless the player using it knows how to use it and knows how to get the best out of it. And that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to going to ETC is there's obviously very different metas in different countries, and if a list like that is doing well somewhere, then someone obviously knows how to use that list, and it'd be quite interesting to see it used, and it'd be interesting to see how it gets on actually.
I totally agree with you. It's one of the key things.
Out of it myself, but yeah.
It's definitely one of the key things that I've been noticing reading all the lists, that you need to take into account the different metas within each country. So listen, we're on to Germany1, and this is classed as the Alliance of Shire and Saruman the Wise. Have you got that one up?
Yeah, it's some dwarves, some elves, some hobbits, and Saruman.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, if you want to read out through this list then.
Yeah, so Saruman the Wise, on foot, is he the general?
He is the general. Yeah, anything on top is always going to be the general.
We've got the King's Champion with 2 heralds, and he's leading 6 gathered guard and 4 dwarf warriors.
With bows. Dwarf warriors of bows in this case, yeah.
Bruno with 4 wood elf warriors, for those bows as well, or spears?
4 elf bows, 1 elf spear, 4 Gladrian court, and 3 Gladrian warriors with spears.
We've got Dorian of Pony.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that conversion.
It'd be cool. I really like the model of Dorian. It's nice to see him on a pony.
Yeah.
The Threadiger Bolger, and then we've got Pippin on a pony with 12 militia.
Yep.
Are they just militia? Or
they're just militia. Just militia with hand weapons. Yeah.
And we've got Mary, with 8 archers and 4 militia.
Correct, yes. What do you think?
A good number of models. The Shire bulking out. This is something I think that's a bit more like what we would see here in the UK, where you've got a couple of elite warbands, and then you've got a couple of cheap Shire warbands bulking out. You see that sort of thing a lot in the top tables. I'm surprised at the lack of battle and brandy bucks. Like the extra 1 point per guy to be strength 3.
Would that lose a couple of models?
It's 24 models. You could drop there's probably some things that are droppable, but you would definitely need to drop some models to get that.
Yeah.
Dory is interested in inclusion, but I think he's actually pretty good on a pony.
Okay.
I mean, if you get to because the Warbands are all full, so there also must be a point where they have a small amount of points left to spare. And
we see that in Freddy, surely.
Yeah, Freddy's great, I think. Freddy's a great inclusion. The extra Warband.
Well, just to answer your previous question, we've got 55 models there.
55 models, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 deployment drops.
Well, hang on. We have 3 minor heroes, 6 heroes. Oh, is that a bit more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's it.
7 deployment drops, so they could have deployed Dory and Freddy, and you've set up 3 warbands. In some cases, that's going to be nearly a full army.
Yes, very true. Right, let's move on to...
as well. Quite like that list.
Let's move on to the next one. It's called Legions of Sauron 2, and it's the one with the Dark Marshal on a Fell Beast. Just tell us when you've caught up with that one there. It's got Grishnak as well.
Dark Marshal on a Fell Beast,
yep.
And it's 6 Moranans.
With Shield and Spear.
1 Spectre and 1 Black Numenorean.
I do like the cheeky Spectres.
Yeah, the Spectres are fantastic.
Yes.
I think there's so much you can do with a Spectre. You save Will on compels for your Wraith.
Yeah.
Moving full instead of half. There's tons of fun things you can do with Spectres. I think they are very, very good. Grishnak, one other Black Numenorean, and there's 6 Moranans and a Warg Rider.
Yeah, shield on the Warg Rider, spears and shield on the Moranans, shield on the Black Numenorean.
Knight of Umbar on a Fell Beast, 9 Reavers.
Yeah, well, we all know what the Reavers will be carrying, and it definitely won't be a stick of rock.
A Taskmaster with 2 of Bracken Guards, 6 Watch the Karma with bows.
Yes, they do indeed, yeah.
And another 3 Reavers.
Indeed.
And is that
That gives me a total of 40 models. That's kind of just a little bit under, well, a little bit, 8 or 10 models under the average.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that list. Double Fell Beast is really good, obviously. We know how good that is, but it's also got a lot of high quality troops backing it up.
Yes.
And it's a nice variety of troops as well. Like, you got a couple of Terracrossers in there with the Numenoreans. You got the Fight 5 on the Reavers with the Axes, so they're packing a real punch there as well.
I personally prefer the Black Numenoreans in this list as being the individual 1 or 2, because I find Terror is quite expensive when you're doing the charging. If you've got terror-causing models, they're pointless if you're charging with them. They're only good if you're being charged as such. But I'd like to see Black Numenoreans popping up, and there is a fair amount throughout the whole event. The
individual Warg Rider, I think, is useful as well, just for the same reasons as any individual cavalry model could be. The Taskmaster in there to preserve the might, and you got Grishnak for the at least 3 pretty much just heroic moves, so it strikes he's most likely going to be calling, but it could be more than 3 with the Taskmaster. Get some free heroic combats off of the race. I think that list is really good. Is the Shadow Lord being used elsewhere in that?
No, it can't be used else. Oh, sorry, no,
is
it? Yes.
The Shadow Lord isn't in this list.
Let me just take a look. He doesn't appear to be so far. He could be in... No, he doesn't appear to be... No, he's not actually. There is no Shadow Lord in the
I've probably gone for the Shadow Lord over the Dark Marshal. For the reason that those Reavers, particularly, are going to be huge targets for shooting.
Right.
Not so much the Moranans at defense 6, but if someone can kill a good number of Reavers before this army gets to it, it might be in a bit more trouble, and the Shadow Lord would have prevented that. But as a combat threat, yes, it's pretty terrifying. If this army can get intact, most of them
let's
still
take a step back here and look at my little knowledge of the German meta, and they are a very teamed community, and they also work on the process that it's I think it's nearly impossible to get 2 Fell Beasts into their meta.
Yeah.
So the use of fell beasts in this, where we're used to the synergy of the top three or maybe even the top four fell beast riders and how they work out. The idea of how fell beasts, the synergy. I mean, I don't see synergy here. I would have liked to have seen something like maybe the Undying, or as you said, even the Shadow Lord might have been a good one in there.
But Marshall's not the best general, but I do think that he does have some synergy in the rest of the list, given that it's a strong combat list, and it's a strong combat list, it's almost all getting rerolls because of the banner.
He brings in that banner aspect, yeah.
Not so sure of him as a general, and I would have probably gone to the Shadow Lord just to make sure the army gets there. But no, I do like it. I think it'd be pretty scary to come up against if it can get a combat.
Yes. Let's move on to what I class as the Misty Mountains Goblin King. Obviously, there's only one named Goblin King, so he's the only list here, and he's running around with 11 goblins. Thought he might have the 12, but no, he's got 11 basic goblins there. Then we've got Grinna with 12 goblins racing around after him. And now we're down into the interesting part. We have Groblog, and then we have one Maria Goblin with shield, three Maria Goblins with spears, one Maria Goblin with an orc bow and spear. Then we have one Warg Marauder, we have one Bat Swarm, and we have three Maria Goblins with just shields.
Yeah.
Then after that, we come back down to, where are we? The Shaman. He's all mixed in here. One Shaman, a Wild Warg. We have two Goblin Warriors with shield, one Goblin Warrior with shield. Now that to me would be an indication of a different type of hand weapon put in there. And we have three Goblin Warriors with orc bows and spears, and then another Warg Marauder. And we have, I think, is a complete replica of that warband down below, except there's three Goblin Warriors with orc bows, there's one with shield, and there's another two with shield, a Warg Marauder and a Wild Warg. And then finally we drop down onto the obligatory Shade with one Orc Warrior and a banner. That is a unit I would be very, very concerned about, remembering how yourself and Charles Sims pinned down my Shade in the corner for a while. I'd be losing a banner in that game if it's something else from a battle.
Maelstrom could be a struggle for the Shade, but I think that there's enough might elsewhere in the army that you could counter that, even if it means you have to maybe use one of Groblog's might or Drinna's might to get some models on beside the Shade.
Would you not drop the Shade first then, which is unusual? Yeah. Drop the Shade first and then bring in the Goblin King afterwards.
And it's a lot of models.
There is. I'll give you a countdown on that one. It's 57.
57 models. 57 models that definitely we're going to have Fury on a 5+. You got 11 might points in there, with the Shaman saving the might because of Groblog's into the channel.
Yeah.
The Goblin King is a general that's pretty much safe. It's not one that you see dying often and giving up those general VPs. I think and with the Shades, suddenly those models have all got the higher fight value really than you.
Yes, indeed.
The Shades. I think this one could do really well in a lot of the objective-based missions. They'll struggle in lots of battle, but it's of course they'll struggle in lots of battle. Depends what you come up against. If you can match up against another host, then there's a good chance it could do well in that scenario as well.
I'm loving the sight of the Marauders. I do like Marauders. I like the fact that people have gone out, got the effort to either get the model or convert to the model. It's good. Okay, we've got two left now. We've got the Elven Realms with Trandril, as I've named it here, and we have Trandril, King of Mirkwood, with 4 Guard of the Gladian Court and 5 Wood Elf Warriors with spears. The next warband there, Dave, have you got that up?
Yeah, we got Legolas. He also have cloak.
He doesn't. He just has an elf armor. He just has his armor, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a horse as well.
Yes.
And we got 6 with elf warriors again. We have spears.
Elf bow and elf spear, yes.
Bows and elf spears, and we have 2 guards of the Goblin coat.
Correct.
And we've got the King's Champion, a couple of heralds.
With the classic Dwarf Warrior Kazakh mix, but this time it's 4 and 6.
4 and 6. They've got Lobelia, they've got Galadriel, Leader Light, they've got Paladin Took, lead
That's
in,
right, yeah.
1 Sheriff, 7 Militia, and 4 Archers.
That's correct, yes.
Is that all of that one, or is there another?
No, that's it. That's it. And that is a total of 47 models. I'd be concerned with this list. I don't think it's got enough dwarfs in there to have a good front line to protect the elves and hobbits.
It's got the elves will have spears, so the elves are going to sit behind the hobbits.
Yeah.
And or the dwarfs. Because it's 2 full warbands elves in it, so they can back up the hobbits and the dwarfs. We've got Galadriel in there for the blinding light, so the elves aren't really going to be getting shot. A couple of hurls can see them.
A couple of hurls could end your day, I think. I think this list will be looking to move away, although Lady of Light is going to be terrifying for any Felbeast players or any even Reid players.
And Legolas as well. I'm surprised Legolas doesn't have the Elven cloak.
No, he doesn't. He's just
That's an odd one.
He gave him the horse over the cloak, and I don't understand that because
you could go both. You could go both, and it just gives you the option. I'd go cloak personally, but I see sometimes people do like the horse. You could go both. Lobelia, I'm not less sure on Lobelia as an inclusion in this force, just because if she's still alive at the end game, she could hurt you.
Yeah, but she's got an umbrella. That's pointy.
She does have an umbrella, but suddenly if your models don't have a stand fast, they do have high courage, and you've got a decent amount of bodyguards. But yeah, you kind of want her to die if it gets near the end.
I've got to say,
she's probably going to make the drop, but
of the list,
half points on the cloak.
It doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence over the other three we've looked at.
I think it's bad. I think there's a lot of really good elements. Elves and dwarfs and hobbits are a common mix. I think there's a few things that you could improve it with, but I don't think it's a bad list.
Yeah.
I like the sheriff in there with having a guy with a staff. Always useful.
Yes. Let's move on to the very last list then, and that's Legions of Sauron Undyne, I've classed it as. And this is the Undyne on a Felbeast with 10 Morannon orcs, 2 of them having shields, the others having shields and spears.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find which.
I'll let you catch up there.
Undyne or Felbeast, yeah.
And the second warband has Gorbag, a nice little captain with his 3 might. We have a banner for a Morannon orc with a shield and spear. We have 7 shields and spear Morannon orcs, 2 orc trackers, and just 2 Morannon orcs with just shields. So yeah, nice list. Haradrim Taskmaster with 12 Corsair Reavers. Then we have the last warband is the Shade, the obligatory 1 or 2 Spectres, so we've got 2 in this case. And then we've got a Warg Rider with just armor, and then we have 4 Warg Riders with shields. Totaling 45 models.
Yeah, it's similar to some of the other ones in a way that we've seen a mix of troops, high fight value in the Reavers, and then Moranox with spears to support. Again, I'd be kind of worried the Reavers getting shot. I think if the Reavers get shot and die before combat, could struggle, but the Shades and a Felbeast is always a nice combination. You got Gorbag in there again, 3 might character for calling heroic actions with the Taskmaster. And then
Well,
that's five expendable might really there, which is going to become 7 or 8 expendable might.
coming back to the fact you said shooting, when I look back on the French lists, just by the titles alone, we only have Galadriel and dwarfs that have any real shooting potential. And then if we look at the German 1 list, where we have the Alliance of the Shire, we have Elven Realms Trandrel, we only just have one Shadow Lord in the French list to possibly negate that. So I think as captains, the French captain will be looking to get the Shadow Lord tied in against potentially the Alliance of Shire or the Elven Realms Trandrel from the German list. On that note, I don't think you're going to worry too much for your concerns regarding the Corsairs, since it's only going to be the Galadriel and Dwarf list who could give potential damage to the Corsairs as they come in. So round 1, who would you think... let's go back. From Germany 1, who do you think is the 5th list?
Who do you think the 5th list is? I don't... Let's see, I'm just going to quickly just go through them again. Number 1... I think it's probably one of the 2 Reaver ones because they are quite similar.
Right.
As to which one out of the 2, I probably prefer the first one.
The Dark Marshal one.
Yeah, I think it's the Double Fell Beasts.
Yeah. I mean,
the mix of troops, I think, is better in that list.
You do like your Double Fell Beast list anyway yourself.
Yeah, that's... I have a tendency.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I actually don't know which is the 5th list. France 1, Germany 1. What would you say the ultimate end score is going to be after round 1?
It does depend on the matchups, as we say. I mean,
and the scenario.
You want they're going to want the Shadow Lords up against the shooting armies. Well, the German captain is going to want the Shadow Lord up against the armies that don't have shooting. If they can get the correct matchups, it could go away. I think I prefer the German lists overall.
Okay. So, would you give it?
If it was the corner and all, I'd have to say the Germany 1.
4-0?
Win that round.
3-1?
I'd be surprised if there's many 4-0s. 3-1. Yeah, 3-1. 3-1 Germany.
Excellent. Well, listen, Dave, thank you very, very much for that. This has been tremendous, really, really helpful. Just stay on the line. I'll just finish us up here and turn off the thing. But before I do, just want to say big thank you, Dave. Really looking forward to seeing you again. I only just saw you the weekend just gone. Really looking forward to seeing you at the EPC. Well, I'm sure I'll be pulling my hair out.
I'm looking forward to hearing the video on our matchup as well against Spain. It'd be interesting to see someone else's take on our lists as well, and where they could improve them and what they like and what they dislike about them. So
I intend to do that tonight with the Americans.
Okay.
So yes, that's aimed tonight at the Americans. And unfortunately, as you know, we've had 1 or 2 slight issues with recordings. You definitely, sir, need to get your camera cleaned because you are completely blurred.
Maybe that's for the best.
They won't see it. They won't see you coming, eh? They won't see you coming.
We'll wait for the review at the EPC.
Alright, well, listen, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. We'll goodbye from here. Dave's going to stay on the line, and I'll have a quick chat with him in a second. And hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, cheers. Exit that. This.